Hey guys, thanks for joining the video today. I just figured it'd probably be a good time to do a little bit of a live video. What I want to do is I want to go through, kind of where we are right now, just in case something happens as we're starting this video feed. So I want to take a look at a very, very low time frame and kind of take a look at what I'm seeing, and then of course move my way out little by little to higher and higher time frames, and just to kind of take a look at this and see if there's anything happening here that's really worth discussing. But of course, as you can see on your screen, this isn't financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research. I'm just giving my opinion on the market, and so yeah, you need to be responsible for clicking those buttons. I'm just going to give my opinion on this. All right, so I want to take a look here at our top that we have. All right, so we do have a little bit of a top here. A couple things I want to point out. Of course, we have this big move up, right, which we've already discussed in previous videos, and I'll highlight it again when we move to a higher time frame. But what I want to point out here is the fact that we've come back up here to this range, which is right at just shy of 81.50. I think our top right here was 81.40. That's not to say that we can't keep going high. It looks like we had a little bit of a front run of this 618. Now, I do have to say, I still have I still have a bearish bias here, even though that we did move up a bit. I was able to catch some shorts on one of my dust accounts up here in this range. It was like 83.50 or something along those lines. So, I mean, it's a decent entry. I'm still holding on to it. I haven't exited out of that short. What I'm looking at here, I'm actually considering adding to the short here in this range, still inside of this red box, and I'll talk about the red box here in just a little bit. But what I see here, and I talk a lot about support and resistance levels, and what I see here is right here in this range, and I hate to put another red box inside of a cluster of red boxes, but we have this range right here, which is really, really important for us. And it's going to go all the way down to about right here. And so I'm going to extend this one out just a little bit. I think this is pretty important for us to push through if we're going to be bullish, right? So of course we had our first rejection right here, and then we had a rejection inside, and so it moved up a little bit higher, then moved up a little bit higher, and then we finally pushed through. We came back and we retested it once, twice, and the third time we pushed down. Now, when we had our first test, we didn't go up very high. The second test had a decent bounce, still didn't make any new highs, and then we rolled over and we went down significantly. All right, so now where are we? After we broke down, we had a retest, an immediate retest here, and it failed. And we had a front run here, and then we didn't get anywhere close here. And then we came down, got some new fuel, and then we were able to push ourselves up, and we've rejected it once. We have now rejected it a second time. So now the question is, are we going to push through? That's a really good question, because the second attempt didn't make it as high. Now remember, over here, we had an attempt and a failure. The second attempt pushed through. All right, so we had an attempt and a failure, a pretty decent failure actually. And then the second attempt, we didn't get quite as high. So this got up to 81.25, whereas the prior test was 81.40. So we didn't get quite as high. I want to see us push into this, but I also want to see a decent rejection with volume here in the golden zone, which is right in the middle of this red cluster, like probably equilibrium here at about 81.70. Now, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And this fib pull is from this dominant pivot high to this dominant pivot low down here. These are obvious pivots that we have to pay attention to, and we're having a retest. All right, so now, a couple things paying attention to. We have been trading up here within the last 2-3 days. This is on the 8th. Today is the 10th. All right, so we were trading up here in recent times. So theoretically, it should be easy for us to get back up into this trading range, and we haven't. We had a rallied fail. We had a rallied fail. We're having a rally now. The question is, are we going to fail? And our first algo short target is going to be right here at 81.58. And basically, I'm going to say between 81.50 and 8200, I think there's going to be significant resistance. Definitely up here in this 8290 range. I don't know if we're going to get up that high. If we don't get a rejection here at the 618, So if we don't get a rejection here at the 618, my bias is we will probably go a little bit higher. Now, I don't know what's going to happen yet. Nobody knows what's going to happen yet. But what I'm saying is my first short target for this algo is going to be right here in this, basically in the red box. In the red box is probably a decent place to take a short trade. Anywhere above 8,100. Now we're sitting right here at 8,050 right now. Okay, so just be careful here because we are seeing some resistance. All right, we're seeing some resistance, and this level is something that's going to have to be taken out first. This is our first level to take out, and then 84.50 is going to be the next level to take out. That's going to be the high that we had recently. All right, now again, going back to Stokes, 12-hour is moving itself down. The 3-hour is crossed up. Actually, the 3-hour crossed up here in this range down here. So the algo caught it. The algo caught that we were going to be pivoting to the upside back here. It just so happens that I wasn't awake at 4 o'clock in the morning when this happened, but the algo target said that this was an area to buy. Now we are, at about 50% retrace from this move down, and our 3-hour Stoke is, about halfway there. So possible if this continues to just churn for a couple more hours, it could be that we do get rejected here. We'll have to wait and see what happens. My bias is we're probably going to get rejected in this range. Somewhere in this range we are going to get rejected. And I do suspect it probably will happen in this golden zone, which is going to be at 8150 to 8200. Keeping an eye there. Now, let me go ahead and zoom out a bit. I'm at the 15-minute chart. Before I zoom out, I want to take a look at this. It's clear we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way down here to the bottom. So that's a 5-wave structure. It's an impulsive move to the downside, which concerns me a little bit. If I were a bull, I would be a little concerned. In the structure it took us to get down here, and then now it looks like we're basically creating like a 1, 2, 3. Although this is a pretty long A. Let's see if this makes sense from an algo target. If this makes sense, if this does happen to be an A, and then we're going down for a B, then our 618, which is a very weak target, is going to be sitting right here again right at 8,200. Okay, so this is looking decent for a rejection here, 8,200. So you could say that we have ABC, ABC, and then we're going to go in for an A, B, and this C up here into the golden zone. So I do think that there is a little bit more upside, but I would say that if you're not already short, I would wait. I would wait until we get to this golden zone. This is going to be your high probability zone for a short, or if you're holding Bitcoin, this is going to be a high probability place to sell your spot Bitcoin and then wait to accumulate it lower, okay? Because our downside target, if this 618 gets rejected, our downside target is going to be $7,500. So basically what we're looking at here is, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of wiggle room here. All right, so I'm going to say shorting at, let's just say 81.75. I'm going to get close to it. All right, we got lucky, got it right on the nose. And you're basically saving yourself an 8% drop. Okay, as far as a stop loss goes, I would say a stop loss somewhere in this range, 82.71. So you're basically risking $100 here. I'm putting 96, but somewhere along those lines, because we have support, support, support. And if we're going to come and retest that, chances are pretty good this is going to be resistance coming back, a bearish retest. Very likely is what's going to happen up here. So my bias is probably going to make a new local high compared to this high here at $8,040. Probably will come up into this golden zone. It may extend beyond it just a little bit, depends on how the bulls are going to be trying to push its way through here. I will say, as far as the volume goes, since we got to this low target down here, volume really has kicked in pretty good. It's been pretty decent. We'll have to see what happens up here. If we get another blow off top and then we see a swing to the downside, of course that's not going to be all that great. I'm going to keep this PL on here because I do think that this is potential for what could be to come. Again, a rejection at the 618 based on this pivot high, this pivot low and an internal retracement over here into the golden zone, it's a high probability trade that you're going to be met with resistance on this. So if we're bearish, this is going to be met with resistance, and we should see some volume on this move down. And again, our first target is going to be here at the negative 236, which is going to be at $7,500. What I will say is I'll watch and see how this happens, because if this goes down, and I apologize, I'm talking quite a bit here, but if we go for an ABC up here, and then if we see a 1, 2, and then we see another 3, 4, and then we see this 5, if this goes in 5 waves down to our algo target, my bias is this was wave 1, this was wave 2, and this is just the start of wave 3, and it probably will end up going even lower. So just being very careful with this. It is possible this comes all the way down here, and then we get a push back up to about here, and that this goes lower, and then we basically have a little bit of a flat for the 4, and this 5 honestly has the potential to go even lower. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to go all the way down, too low, but it's very possible this goes down even lower, and we've started a good move to the downside. Now, again, this is just one scenario. This doesn't have to happen. I'm just saying what I see here. And to be quite honest, I'm going to move out to a 4-hour time frame. And as you know, gosh, I really hate to hide this, but I'm going to go ahead and remove this just so that I can kind of articulate this a little bit. We've talked about this a long time as well. Is this an ABC? We got a pretty strong pivot at an ABC target at the 123.6. Again, this first wave, we're measuring the first wave. We're doing a retracement back to our next dominant pivot. And then we basically have these 3 targets, the 618, the 100, and the 123.6. We got stopped at the 123.6, okay? We haven't gone higher yet, but what I can say from a bullish standpoint is this looks like a good support and resistance flip. All right, here is our resistance at the top of our first wave. Call it a 1, call it an A, whatever you want. It's our first wave. And then we pushed through, and then when we came back, we tested that almost perfectly. This topped out at 76.97. This bottomed out at 76.82. Literally a $15 overlap. All right, so this was going to be pretty significant support coming back. I was actually long and I got stopped out, which I'm kind of upset about because I got stopped out by like 10 bucks. But nonetheless, got stopped out on that. And we had a nice move up, which I was expecting to see. It sucks that I got stopped out on my long. I still have my spot buy, which I'm still looking to get rid of out here. But nonetheless, we see that move to the upside. And now I'm looking for some rejection in this red zone. Okay, and that will mean that this ABC is still valid. Now, from a bullish perspective, if we're going to see a move to the upside, let me pull this out here. We're going to take from this pivot low up to this pivot high and see what we've got. We had to pull back to about the 50. Okay, so again, possible that we go up here to 88.38. I wouldn't like to see that as a bear. Right? A short-term bear, a long-term bullish, short-term bear, right? You have to be able to trade both sides here. And, we have our upper, and let me move out to a daily time frame so you can see my upper on this. Let me fix this so we can see it. All right, so y'all can see the upper that I've got up here. And that's basically up here where this 1618 is. Of course, the algo target sitting right here at about $8,800. It's very possible for that to happen. And again, if that does happen, moving out to, back down to a 4-hour time frame, if that happens, then chances are pretty good that was up to a 3. So basically we're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to go up to the 5, which would be finishing our third wave. Okay, so we may come all the way up here to this target, which is almost 9,000. Possible for that to happen, right? Again, Irish, I saw your comment there about 9,000 or higher. This would be the way. This would be the path to get there, right? First, we have to take out 84.50. If we take out 84.50, 84.60, and we close it on like an hour or 2-hour, 3-hour time frame, then yeah, I can see us moving up here to the 9,000 range. I probably would go ahead and take that long. It's because it's a $500 move. It's significant, especially if you're using a little bit of leverage. but definitely 9,000 is going to be met with some serious resistance. What I can say though is at the 1618, we would expect to see a pullback again. That's about 89.50. Algo target for this move is going to be 88.38 if this is going to hold and move to the upside, right? This is going to be our algo target here. And that would indicate that we're going to be going much higher, honestly. That would indicate that we do have potential, that this was the very bottom all the way down here at, at 6,400. That's very possible that was the bottom, at least for a short term, and we are going to be seeing some much higher numbers in the future. Again, we'll have to wait to see what happens there. Going to an even higher time frame. Let's go to a weekly. Take a look at the weekly here. All right, so I've been talking about this also for quite some time, pulling out my fib, and I'm going to be starting up here at the top, working my way down here to the bottom. Going to be very approximate here. We had rejection here at the 618. So that's a golden zone rejection. And so therefore we would be looking to at least retest the bottom down here. But, at a minimum, we're looking, to come down here to 5,000, at least in the coming month or two, right? So we're on a weekly time frame. This stuff takes time. This takes significant time. And again, if we're going to take a look at this on a weekly perspective, and I did a video on this just the other day, we were talking about this level right here, which is going to be about 83, 8,400, where we have clusters, and we've got more clustering. I would say in this range here at about 9,500. We have a weekly low here. We have resistance here. Actually, with support, it should be resistance now, and it was on the 40% candle. We had resistance here. We weren't able to close above that. Okay, and so now the one that I'm really interested in is going to be this level right here, which we just recently got rejected from, and this is going to be again about 8,500. And the reason why this is so significant for me is because when we closed below that week, not that week, but that level, significant downward pressure after we broke down through that. And we have had significant upward pressure on this weekly candle so far this week. We still have a lot of time for this to work itself out. But I would say, if we stay below this 100, which is going to be sitting here at about 8,100, 8,200, that's going to be significant, to bears, because I think that does lead to have a little more downside. And again, I'm going to be looking here through the end of January for us to come down to this range. And that's going to scare some people. That's going to scare a lot of people off if we break this pivot low down here at 64.10. So I do think that there is possibility that we do come back down into the 5,000s. It's very possible it comes down here into the 5,000s. Now, if we start to break some of these levels, then I'll change my bias. If we break out of this channel, I'll change my bias, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm bearish because we're in this channel. Once we break out of this channel, I'll be bullish. I'll be honest with you guys. I'll go bullish for a while. I'll wait to see what things are going to do. We may come back all the way up here to this significant resistance level, which is going to be here at about 11,500. Significant resistance there. Significant resistance also at the 11,000 range. And we've talked a lot about this, and especially here at the 9,500 range. So just be careful. Because if we do hit this 1618, chances are pretty good we go up here to the 2618, which is going to be 10,200. Lots of resistance there. So we'll be keeping an eye up there in that range, because this long wick is going to be liquidity for bears, right? To be loading up on some shorts. At least for the time being, I do think that we do have a little more downside ahead of us. We're trading at $8,061 and continuing to fluctuate after we have had a little bit of consolidation here in this range on a 15-minute time frame. It does look like we have a little bit of a flag going on here. And again, I'm talking about very short-term move to the upside up here to this 8150 to 8200 range before we see a rejection. So again, that's kind of what my bias is right now. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I do appreciate you joining and watching. I will do a TA video on VeChain here in just a little bit. I do have a couple thoughts on that, and I've been talking with with some people on the Discord about that here recently. And so I would like to do a real quick video on that. But wherever you are in the world, hopefully you're having a good day, good night, and good evening.